everyone, and welcome to another installment of Learning How to Learn. On this special episode, we have Brittany from the CNIB. It's such a pleasure to have you on Learning How to Learn. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I'm looking forward to getting into this discussion with you.
Thank you so much. And I really want to gain insights into your perspectives this evening. And I really admire how Brittany carries herself. So this conversation is going to be extremely insightful. So, hello, Brittany. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Today's been a great, fruitful day. So I'm really energized and excited to be on the podcast.
Thank you. And may you just start off by telling us about what you wanted to do when you were little, growing up? What was your vision when you were growing up? What did your dream career look like?
So when I was growing up, one of the things that I was very passionate about was kind of supporting people. I really enjoyed supporting people and helping people accomplish their goals. But my niche, I would say, was more so focused on creativity and the arts and trying to get people to see themselves for what they are, but at the same time do it with the creative. We do it with creativity and do it in a creative way. So one thing I was really passionate about as a young person was using the arts to support people from marginalized groups and just people who are ostracized. So that's one thing that kind of brought me to my current role now at the CNIB, because as a young person, I did a lot of work in regards to supporting people with various backgrounds, from various communities, with an array of, misconceptions people have about them, and most people who the society would actually deem as, I would say, outcasts in some sort of way. So as a young person, I've always been someone who would want to support others, mostly through the arts, and help people see their abilities versus people looking at them through different limitations that other people perceive.
Interesting. That's so powerful and inspiring. And it really gets into the segue of, I personally think that academia is so important. So can you guide us through your education pathway to where you are today currently?
Okay, so at the moment, I'm at CNIB, so I'm a team lead doing advocacy and community engagement. And in order for me to get where I was, education was very key. So I'm just going to start off with a story. So my background initially was in health sciences.
Wow.
So I initially got my degree in health sciences, and that was something that I was initially doing that I was passionate about. But I realized, on the other hand, besides even doing health sciences, I had a group of friends who were also in the same, doing the same degree as me, but unfortunately, they didn't have the same opportunities as me, and I realized one thing that set me apart from a lot of the people who were in my core group was me going the extra mile to actually do further things academically, so I would be able to kind of have an upper hand or an advantage when I was going to the workforce. So, for example, my passion was really for advocacy and inclusion and supporting people when it came to within the community and within society, and doing a lot of community development work, and that was one of my passions. So even though I had a background in health sciences, my main point where I realized that I really wanted to support people in the community was when I actually took a class in health equity.
Wow.
And I realized that was something I was very passionate about. And that's what I was saying about kind of taking a further step in education. One thing I did was I took a lot of certificate courses that I would frequently search for online that related to what I wanted to do. So because I knew that, okay, I'm really passionate about inclusion, health equity, and diversity, I started seeking out different courses that I could take online and in actual classes that would kind of reinforce that passion that I have.
Right.
And that kind of set me apart when I would go into job interviews, when I would seek out opportunities. That kind of set me apart. And one thing that also really helped me a lot was volunteering. So while I was in university, and high school, so university and high school, I would constantly volunteer. And a lot of times people would look at me and wonder why I'm always traveling, spending money, going from here to there,
right,
attending events all over the place. Sometimes I would even travel to, I worked with from Community Living Ontario all the way from high school.
wow,
Yeah, so I worked with them from high school in grade 11 as a volunteer. So I was volunteering in grade 11,
right.
and up till now, I still volunteer with them.
That's
and
amazing.
I do a lot of different, and the funny thing with them, with this situation is, they actually gave me my first job. I had volunteered with them for about 3 years in high school, and when I was gone, they gave me a job.
Wow.
So that actually gave me an upper hand. So I basically had like 7 years of experience before I was even done university.
Right.
Just because of that volunteer experience. And after that volunteer experience, I was given the opportunity to work while I was in school with a group of people who supported me and were actually looking to see me grow as an academic and as a professional. So that was something that really gave me an upper hand. And up till now, a lot of the people I was in similar classes with don't have the same, I would say, they're not in the same position as I am because of that lack of volunteer opportunity that they weren't really pursuing.
Right.
So I think that's like a very, very essential part throughout my trajectory as a professional.
Mm-hmm.
Just having that experience really gave me an upper hand. And even the current role I'm in, that was really monumental to me actually being in that role. So I would say academic-wise, searching out for opportunities to increase my knowledge and give me kind of that edge academically has helped me a lot in my current position I'm in now. And apart from that, the rich volunteer experiences has really taken me to levels that I don't think I would be if I hadn't done that work.
Wow, that's amazing. So volunteering is really, really powerful, I think, for people to take in. And now that through that you shared that story, I think people really will know how powerful it can be in their success in the future. And so speaking of success in future, I really want to know your perspectives on entrepreneurship and what is that word? Like, what does that word mean to you? And what are your views on it?
So when it comes to entrepreneurship, this is one thing. I believe entrepreneurship is the key to independence and the key to actually being who you are. One thing I really realized, over the course of my life is when you're working for someone, when you're working for an individual, you're basically putting, a lot of times, from my personal perspective, but it depends on where your goals are and if you're actually, you feel like you're an individual who's meant to be more of a follower than an independent leader. But a lot of times I've realized when you're an individual who's working for someone,
right,
kind of like during that time you're working, you're actually putting your goals and your dreams on hold. Because you can't have the freedom to actually pursue what you really want to pursue, because you're basically kind of being monitored and you're kind of being controlled in a way to actually accomplish a goal that may not be your present goal at the moment. So that's one thing. I feel like entrepreneurship gives you that freedom, gives you that opportunity to kind of seek after your passions and your dreams and move in that direction. And it gives you that fuel you need in order to consistently pursue your dreams. And the one thing I applaud the leader in is we all are entrepreneurs, even if you do have a job. Because for me, I have a job that I actually pursue and work towards as a team lead at CNIB. At the same time, I'm pursuing different projects and passions and working on a lot of projects that coincide with the work I'm doing at the moment at CNIB and kind of reinforce the work I want to do as an entrepreneur. So I think that's the key thing when you're kind of trying to pursue entrepreneurship is going after something with all your might and all your strength and letting everything around you that you're pursuing at that moment fuel that. So an example I would like to provide is, say if you're a teacher in a school. You're a teacher in a school and maybe you're teaching math. And your goal as an entrepreneur is probably to develop some formula that maybe creates some type of maybe chemical that can clean water or something like that. So I'm going to give a random example. So because you're a math teacher, that gives you an opportunity to actually perfect your skills and learn in an area that you're already passionate about. So there's nothing wrong with being in that particular job. But the problem happens when you're in a job that you hate and you don't like, and you're doing something that has nothing to do with your overall goal as an entrepreneur, and that's when I feel like that can be very negative and detrimental to you as an entrepreneur. So
Indeed.
From my perspective, being an entrepreneur is basically the key to your independence and the key to your freedom and the peace of mind also, because you're pursuing things you're passionate about and you're able to put your energy towards that.
That is so inspiring. I think that a lot of people will have a lot of different ideas they will take away when it comes to entrepreneurship. And also, a great entrepreneur also has an amazing book list. So when it comes to reading, I think now more than ever, it's a great outlet for inspiration. So what have been some instrumental books and novels that you would recommend to this day to help anyone out there achieve their goals and be more productive?
So I would say my all-time book that I was even telling this to you earlier on is Think and Grow Rich. That's my all-time best book that I believe every entrepreneur should read, and it's by Napoleon Hill. And that's a book that it's almost like a textbook to you redefining who you are and believing in yourself and understanding all the individual steps you need to accomplish your goals and actually believe in yourself and not give in to doubt and fear. So Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich is a very great book. And another book that I would suggest is there's a book called As a Man Thinketh.
Okay.
And I forget the author's name, but it's called, the person's last name is Allen. I'll have to research the individual's first name, but I forget his first name. But that book is very monumental because it talks about controlling how you think and understanding that your thoughts kind of make you who you are. So if you can alter how you think and the negative narratives that you constantly tell yourself, you will be able to accomplish your goals. So those are two books that I would say are very, very essential and have been important to my growth as an individual. So I would recommend those books.
That is wonderful. Thank you for sharing with those books. And I also think that people have different ideas of what the word success means to them. And I wanted to know what the word success, what does it mean to you? And has it, the meaning, changed over time of what the word success means to you?
Yeah, so initially, I would say to me success, before I was actually before I was trying to be a person who really wanted to grow and was focused on personal development and just understanding who I was.
Yeah.
How to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. I thought success was basically pretty much pleasing my parents. That's what I thought.
Yes, a lot of people think so for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So this is why my dad was happy and my mom was happy. And I'm like, okay, I'm successful, right? But as I grew older, I realized that, okay, this isn't enough because I may be pleasing people around me. At the same time, I'm not satisfying myself, or I'm not successful with where I am, right? So one thing I realized after kind of exploring, reading a lot, diving deep into personal development, is that success is pursuing a worthy ideal that's worthy to you. So it's the continuous realization of a worthy ideal. So what what I'm trying to say is, basically, if you have a goal in mind, if you have a dream in mind, and you're continuously on a path of pursuing that's success. So it doesn't matter how far along you are or how early you are in the journey. It's about you pursuing that thing that you really, really, really want, and you're on that path, and you're continuously on that path to reaching that goal that you perceive as worthy. So now that's how I define success. So I don't define it as anything else. I define it as being on the path and being on the path and being on that journey towards that worthy ideal goal that you're trying to accomplish.
That is really great. And also, one question I wanted to know, really understand, is if you could, let's say, travel and there's a time machine, if you could travel back in time, what are some insights you would tell your younger self, like your younger ambitious self that was volunteering all throughout high school? What would you tell her if you could travel back in time with the wisdom and the knowledge that you have now?
One thing I would tell myself was to stop being a people pleaser. Because that was one thing I constantly struggled with as a young person in high school and throughout my life. Was just being a people pleaser. So a lot of times I had difficulty saying no. Worries about everyone's perception about me. If I was doing something that other people didn't agree with, or people didn't understand, or it wasn't kind of with the norm of the time, or it wasn't the end thing to do, I would really be hesitant to actually say no. I would constantly be pleasing people all the time. There was certain things that even different classes I would take would be situations that would be based on people pleasing. And I can even think of a story right now when I was very young. I was about 8 years old, and I was on a track and field team. And I was running on track and field, and I would do so well. I would always be on the top 5 people. But during that time, my friends weren't as good. So I was running on the track and field team. We were doing a marathon thing and a whole bunch of things. And we were actually tallying up the time, basically how fast we could actually get to the finish line. And there was a few days where my friends would say, "Hey, Brittany, let's kind of slow down. We're running too fast, and we really want you to kind of be with us, so let's slow it down. Run with us," right? So there were times where I slowed down, and it ruined my time. So at the end, even though for years I had been on, like, chosen for the final races that were competing against different teams, because I had slowed down at that time, to please my friends, I didn't make the cut.
Whoa.
And those are instances, like, I can think of multiple instances. When I did things like that. There's even another situation I remember when I was a teenager. I had an opportunity to actually speak to, like, different politicians, even the president of a specific country came to a conference.
That's amazing.
It was a great opportunity to have an opportunity to speak to different politicians.
Right.
And I would speak so much. And what happened was other people who were around me were saying, "Oh, you're talking too much. Stop talking." Right?
Wow.
But I was really trying to, because that was something I was passionate about. I love speaking to people. I love interacting with people. So it was something I was really excited to do. And then once they actually said that to me, I was so into being a people pleaser that I stopped talking.
No.
And the next person who was basically called to speak, asked everyone who wants to speak. And in my head, I was like, I wanted to raise my hand, but I was like, being a people pleaser, so I put my hand down.
No.
And someone else raised their hand, and they chose that person to
go to no.
They chose that person to go to Egypt to do a conference.
Oh.
And then in my mind, I was like, I was going to raise my hand. But
so close.
Examples like that have really, even though those are negative experiences, they really shaped my now.
Wow.
Now when I have opportunities, I don't second guess them.
Yes.
I cut off all the negative naysayers. So I don't succumb to people pleasing anymore. So that's one thing I'm constantly checking myself about, and speaking to myself and reminding myself that, hey, don't be a people pleaser. Don't let other people perceive you to be, influence you.
Right.
You know? So that's what I would tell myself. Don't be a people pleaser. Just focus on your goals. Don't let anyone deter you from being who you are.
That is so powerful. I think a lot of, especially young people like that are in university right now, that are aspiring to really change the world in different ways, I think that piece of advice will really change how they think and perceive. And so, speaking of perceive, I want to talk about your role models. Like, who were your role models, that helped you shape these philosophies that you have right now growing up? Who are the people that in your life that really made you feel accepted and loved, and you really were inspired by them, that you called them your role models to this day?
So for my situation, my role models, I would say, are very uninformed. So I would say, this is kind of a little bit backwards, but my younger brothers are actually really my role models.
Aww.
even though they're younger than me,
Yeah.
They're younger than me, and usually you wouldn't think of people younger than you as your role model.
Aww.
They have really been monumental in me actually pursuing a lot of my dreams and trying to pursue entrepreneurship and looking into opportunities to do things that I really, really want to do. So my younger brothers, it's really outside the box, but they're actually YouTubers. So
Wow.
so one of my youngest brothers, he started a YouTube channel and actually has about 300,000 subscribers.
Good for him.
And the thing is, when he was initially starting his YouTube channel, it was something that nobody really believed in. So
Right.
my parents were very negative about it. They didn't believe that he could actually make a career
Yeah.
on a YouTube channel.
Right.
Constantly telling him, don't do this, you're wasting your time.
Right. Log off. Yeah.
Exactly, right? But he was really passionate about it.
Yeah.
Consistent. And one thing that really motivated me about him was he was constantly listening to motivational speakers. So that's what
Wow.
that's what got me into reading and listening to motivational speakers. So
Yes.
what he would do is every day he would find a video of someone he admired and he would listen to it. And he would play it the entire house and constantly play it all the time. And we would even be picking up on a lot of the things he would be saying. We'd be like, what that person said is really true, but that's what he would do to kind of feed his mind.
Wow.
And to actually believe in himself. To the point where he was able to reach his goal of his goal was initially to get 100,000 subscribers. And he reached that in less than, I would say, 6-7 months.
Good for him.
Yeah, and then he got to 300,000 in about, I would say, a year and a half. And
Right.
You can have a YouTuber with so many subscribers. I don't know if you've heard of Lifestyle. Even the YouTuber called Lifestyle with millions of subscribers.
Okay.
They made a video about him. So,
Aww.
yeah, and the thing is, now my parents got 100% on board. They're so happy. They're always contacting him, asking him to
Brand deals, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That is great. That is so.
Yeah.
People don't realize actually, especially that medium of YouTube, how powerful it is and how much people it could really, access. YouTube, it's so huge. If you can monetize your videos, you can get ads, and you can put ads in there. You can really make not just money, but content that you believe in, and you can use that as marketing and whatever project you're working on. You already have a social presence, so that's amazing. I'm happy for you. That's great.
Exactly. And the cool thing with it is that's basically his job now.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that really motivated me, and he was really monumental, and he's really supportive. He's always sending me motivational content and telling me to pursue what I'm trying to do. Keep on pursuing your dreams. Don't feel like you have to conform.
That is amazing.
So he's very monumental and a very inspiring person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so inspiring. I'm inspired by that. Yeah, I know YouTube is really in. That is that you can do so much things with that. And if you get the right type of audience members and subscribers, you never know what potential CEO is watching your video at their screen. You never know. They could be a fan. They can see you one day and be like, hey, in the interview, you never know. You could be like, oh, I'm a fan of your content, and you're going to that job interview. You never know.
Exactly.
That is so amazing. And speaking of CEOs, I think that you have a lot of different insightful advice, and I'm really into pitching now. I have so much ideas I'm working on that I really, really want to pitch, and I'm so passionate about these ideas. So I wanted to know if you're preparing for a big proposal in front of really important people, if you don't want to feel, intimidated and, a little bit uncomfortable about not just your idea, but the people that you're pitching to, because they're very important and you believe in your idea so much, what advice would you give to someone that's truly passionate about what they're pitching to do a successful pitch?
What I would say that from my personal experience has never failed is preparation.
Okay.
Preparation is so important. And they always say when opportunity meets preparation, that's what success pretty much is. That's the saying about when there's an opportunity and you're fully prepared, that's when success is actually reached. That's when you're going to actually be able to succeed in the endeavor you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
And one thing when I mean preparation is study, practice, read over those notes. Do it as if you're going to do a test.
Okay. Okay.
But basically, if there's content you're pitching,
Right.
revise, go over, practice in front of the mirror.
Yes.
Continuously go over all the details, all the content. Because one thing is studying and preparing, memorizing, reading, understanding, getting all those different things together will set you apart from the rest. Because unfortunately, what usually happens is other people put in just enough effort.
Yeah.
So if you can go beyond that and put in your maximum effort,
Okay.
exhaust yourself to the fullest.
Yes.
When you're preparing and study your material, read over, think of creative ways, think outside the box.
Okay.
Your company, go outside the box and
Okay.
do all that, those different key points.
Right.
Set yourself apart because most people don't do that. So
That is so true.
And put in the effort.
That is so true. I think that definitely concludes everything, but I just wanted to say that I think that my audience from Learning How to Learn will learn so much about the different ideas and perspectives they have. And this podcast, I really want to encourage everyone that's listening out there on whatever medium they have, that the journey of becoming a student of life is ongoing outside of academia. And I think throughout this conversation, the audience definitely will have different ideas and look into themselves to find meanings in their life, wherever journey they are, and ultimately find their way to becoming a better student of life. Brittany, thank you so much for your time and your ideas today. It was such a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be on your podcast.
Thank you so much. Till next time, everyone, learning how to learn. Remember, to cognitively develop your insights, you must look into yourself internally to develop your neural pathways. Thank you so much.